作ったロボットだけどジェットジャガージェットジャガーやったぜジャガー
What's going on, people? LP2000 right back at you with another video. Yes, welcome back to Leslie Chambers Kaiju Reviews on behalf of Summit Kaiju. And today we're doing another stellar release from X-Plus this year. Yes, I mean stellar. Yes, I mean awesome. Yes, I mean just an incredible release that I'm so happy to add to my collection. And today we're taking a look at the X-Plus 30cm standard edition of Jet Jaguar. Yes, the popular robotic kaiju from my first ever Godzilla film, Godzilla vs. Megalon. As you can see, I have the beautiful figure here, as well as the box. And of course, I gotta give a huge shout out to John Bellotti Jr., Robo7. I gotta represent with his stunning artwork picture of Godzilla vs. Megalon on my t-shirt here. So yeah, all this flows together because of our main man, Jet Jaguar. So yeah, huge shout out, Robo7, John Bellotti Jr. Get you a t-shirt and get yourself a figure of this. But we'll get to that in a few seconds. So, you know, we do things around here. Let's get into the box before we get into the figure. And this is the box. You know, and I really love this box, you know, with the picture of Jet Jaguar on the front, you know, and him in the background, as well as his text here of Jet Jaguar, as well as the Japanese text of his name down at the bottom. It has somewhat of a vintage type feel with the artwork, you know. It's not... It is brightly colored, but not too bright, you know. But like I said, it has more of a vintage type of feel on the artwork of the box. I'm loving it. I'm going to keep the box, obviously, but I just want to point that out, you know, with the lettering. I even saw a collector online that got this figure, said it has more of a Western type of look. You know, I can see how that could be, you know, coming to play here. But yeah, just a vintage box, vintage looking box. I really do like it. Vintage box for vintage kaiju, or robotic kaiju. So let's see what the box. And before we get to the figure, it also comes with this plastic tail, excuse me, not tail. Jet Jaguar ain't got no tail. But it comes with a plastic stand where you can secure Jet Jaguar on the stand. You don't really need it. As you can see, Jet Jaguar is standing perfectly fine. But if I rock the table back and forth, he will come tumbling down. And with the weather changing, you know, going to cold to hot or whatever, the vinyl may change. Maybe. I don't know. But for extra precaution, X-Plus provided this stable tail. Why do I keep saying tails? Oh, Godzilla's on my brain. This stand for him to stand properly. No different than the gigantic series Ultraman and Ultra 7 that came with those plastic stands with the clamps. You know, no different than the 25cm Gargantua, Sanda and Gyra. So it's like an extra precaution just in case you need it. Like I always say, it's better to have it, not need it, versus need it, not have it. And that's it with that. But yes, this thing just came out. Jet Jaguar, awesome piece. Let me just get it out of the way. I know I said it already, but I gotta say it again here. Awesome piece. It just came out around last week. At the time of this recording, it came out last week. Now, it was originally supposed to drop the last of August going into September, but it got pushed back, I guess, due to all the stuff that X-Plus is coming out with. Talk about biting off more what you can chew. Man, this has been a great year for X-Plus collectors, but it's also been an expensive one. I gotta put that out there. But this is a great acquisition for me, you know. Now, as far as Jet Jaguar, as far as X-Plus is concerned, Jet Jaguar was released before, but he was only released in the 25cm scale. Yes, this Jet Jaguar is the first 30cm figure from the film Godzilla vs. Megalon. Because every film in the 70s period, my favorite films of Godzilla, the 70s films are my favorite. But every single film in that period has at least a 30cm representation from X-Plus of a particular kaiju from each one of those movies. Hedra had a 30cm Hedra. Gigan had a 30cm Gigan. Mechagodzilla 74 got a 30 centimeter Mechagodzilla. And Mechagodzilla, all three kaijus, Mechagodzilla, Titanosaurus, and Godzilla, have 30 centimeter representations. But Godzilla's Megalon is the only film from the 70s films that has not gotten any 30 centimeter representations of a vinyl figure from X-Plus. 25, yes. All the 25, yes. But this is the first ever 30 centimeter figure from that film, which leads me to believe that the other three are coming, at least two. I know at least Godzilla and Megalon are coming at some point. They have to come. Now, Gigan, it just depends on what X-Plus does, honestly. Because X-Plus may do the lazy route and reissue the 30 centimeter 72 Gigan, which you'll see in size comparison later on. They may do the lazy route and just reissue that. Because honestly, there's not really much of a difference between 72 and 73. Yes, there are noticeable differences. You know, like the 71 Godzilla and the 68. Even though it's virtually the same suit, there are minor differences between that version of Godzilla as well as Gigan here. As far as Gigan, his visor is kind of like changed a little bit, and his head is kind of like slightly altered, you know. But will X-Plus go about making a full 30 centimeter version of that particular Gigan? You know, time will tell. But I think that Jet Jaguar is like the first step in the right direction for us getting 30 centimeter representations of every kaiju in that film, especially Godzilla and especially Megalon. I would love to see what X-Plus does with those figures, because you got to know they're coming at some point. I don't see X-Plus just releasing Jet Jaguar here without the other three, or at least two of them, Godzilla and Megalon I'm talking about, coming behind it, you know. But as far as X-Plus is concerned with Jet Jaguar, he was released in the 25 centimeter scale first. He was released in 2010. Then he was reissued in 2012. Then he was reissued again in 2016. But once again, like I said, this marks the first time that Jet Jaguar has made its way into the 30 centimeter vinyl figure scale, you know, and I love it. I really do. Besides the fact that it's an awesome piece and they have done a great job with this, you know, but once again, it makes me even more excited that we'll get other 30 centimeter monsters from that film, since, like I said, this marks the first time that a 30 centimeter vinyl figure from any monster from that film has come out, you know. Now, the only 30 centimeter Godzilla that has come out from X-Plus for the 70s is the 1975 Godzilla. And when you pair them up, of course, it's not the same Godzilla that was with Jet Jaguar in the film, but once you put them together, they do look good, but also it makes you even more anxious of if and when they do that 73 Godzilla 30 centimeter, and when you pair it with this guy, it'd be awesome. So that's pretty much the backstory involving me and Jet Jaguar. This is the standard edition. The Rick version came with alternate arms and came with the light up in his eyes, you know, but since I'm kind of like getting tired of light ups, you know, I decided to go with standard. It was really easy for me to go standard this time. Even though I'm trying to go after Ricks more nowadays, but this was one of I was like, you know, I don't really need, you know, the extra arms and the light up, you know. It's from here on going forward, I will get more Ricks, but they really have to make it worth my while. And honestly, the Rick version didn't really want me to spend an extra 20 or 30 bucks. Not trying to say anything bad about the Rick, because if you got the Rick, hey, you got a good figure here. But for me personally, and for my taste and what I wanted, standard was great for me. You know, so normally I would get up close and personal with this figure, which I will in inserts, but I'm not going to have the camera all up into that in Jet Jaguar's face, because I'm sure he wouldn't like that. Then again, it's kind of hard to say because he always had a smile on his face. even when he's getting his butt kicked, he always got a smile on his face. You gotta love somebody that's like that, is always happy, always have that smile on his face. Not like the Joker, but still, you know what I'm talking about. But let's go head first into the review with Jet Jaguar. Now, as far as detail with this guy, once again, X-Plus, they never cease to amaze us, you know, with their take on these vinyl figures. You know, they go above and beyond with their attention to detail. And with this figure, with Jet Jaguar being more of a simplistic design of a kaiju, or robotic kaiju, I should say, he's not as bulky and has a lot going on physicality-wise like a Godzilla or a Gigan or a Hedra. He's very simplistic in his form here, but at the same time, X-Plus, once again, it looked like it walked right out of the movie. You know, that's what X-Plus is known for. And they have not disappointed with this version of Jet Jaguar. One thing I like about Jet Jaguar, at least this 30 centimeter version, is that I like his open hand here on his left-hand side. You know, which had that, it gives off that stance that he had majority of the film. You know, before he would, you know, tussle around with Megalon And Gigan, I like that. And it's not a carbon copy sculpt of the 25 centimeter Jet Jaguar that has both his arms clenched, at least the one that I have from 2016. So I like that, even though, you know, it's the same kaiju or the same character, X Plus did apply a little bit of modifications to distinguish the 30 away from the 25. You know, and I like that. Also, one thing of note of this figure is the fact that even though Jet Jaguar is known for having those bright colors all over his body with the silver, blue, red, the mustard yellow on his shoulders as well as his abdomen or whatever. But if you look at the figure, he has more of a weathered look. He has more of a dirty look, you know. It just gives off the impression that he's been battling a lot, you know, with Megalon, Gigan, or whatever. Because Jet Jaguar did receive his fair share of punishment in the film. So X Plus has gone beyond detail here and applied that weathered look, kind of a dirty grunge look all over Jet Jaguar's body here. Now, it's not dirty, but it gives off the impression that, you know, he's been battling. You know, no different than the 30 centimeter Mechagodzilla 1974 in comparison to the Mechagodzilla 1975 30 centimeter, where you can tell that the 74 is more of a shiny type metal, even though there's some black shading here and there, but it's not as apparent and it's not as strong as it is on 75, where 75 had more of a weathered, you know, grunge look, kind of like how it was in the film. So X Plus has applied that to this sculpt, to this figure of Jet Jaguar, and I like that. But it's a good size, and you'll see in size comparison when I bring up other 30 centimeter 70s kaijus from that time period. He does scale well with other kaijus. But aside from that, the sculpt, the paint job, you know, this really is a nice piece. It really is. Really affordable. He's not bulky, like I said, like a Godzilla or a Gigan. So shipping wasn't really that bad. Under like 170 bucks shipped for this guy. You know, this really is a nice piece, especially if you're a Jet Jaguar fan. And once again, I cannot bring myself to hate this film. This was my first Godzilla film that I ever saw. Without this film, I would not have become a Godzilla fan today as we know it. Not trying to say that the film is the best in the world, because in my opinion, there are far better, more entertaining Godzilla films than this, but at the same time, it's not the worst Godzilla film in the world either, which is what I've heard a lot of folks say. I wouldn't go that far. I wouldn't say it's the worst Godzilla film in the world. I wouldn't say it's the worst. Even though it does have its fair share of problems, but at the same time, it is loads of fun. It really is it's a fun film. It really is. I'll talk about that later on when I finish off this review. But once again, Jet Jaguar, awesome pose, color, just amazing. Once again, the stand here, you don't really need it, but you know, like it's a nice addition to have just in case he does have the issue of falling down. Because as we all know, sometimes with X Plus figures, not every X Plus is going to be made the same. You know, there are going to be some differences. You know, that's the way it is when you make figures like this on a massive quality. Not every single figure is going to come out the exact same way. Look at the gigantic 1964 Godzilla. So I always say, even if you don't like these stands, at least keep it around because you never know. His feet, Jet Jaguar I'm talking about, may curl as the weather changes depending on where you live at or where you live. So, and he may have that issue like the 30 centimeter Rodan 64 that keeps on falling down, but this prevents that. So always keep this because you never know when you may need it for Jet Jaguar. But Jet Jaguar, great piece, great solid release this year from X Plus. And I couldn't be happy. And once again, it makes me even hopeful and more excited of when we do get the other three from the film. You know. So let's go with two size comparisons, and we'll wrap this review up with my thoughts of Godzilla and Megalon. And I will talk about, because sometimes Jet Jaguar can be a savage. Isn't that what the young folks say nowadays? Talking about being a savage or whatever. So in my commentary portion of this video, I will talk about in my opinion, the top 3 most savage moments committed by Jet Jaguar in Godzilla vs. Megalon. Alright, so let's go with the first size comparison. Okay, folks, this is the first size comparison, and alongside the 30 centimeter Jet Jaguar, I have his X Plus 25 centimeter counterpart that I talked about. And as you can see, they look really great together, and it's awesome. It really is awesome. Not much to go on here, except like I mentioned earlier with the sculpts. Now, like I said, the 25's hands are clenched. You know, both are clenched. Whereas the 30 has one hand clenched and the other one open, you know. But they're both are really great representations of Jet Jaguar, excuse me. Once again, looked like he walked right out of the film, you know. Which one do I prefer out of two? Probably, I'll tell you what, because as you can see here, the 25 has more of a brighter look, you know. Once again, like I said earlier, with the 30 centimeter having more of a weathered look. So, you know what? I like them both equally, but I think one is more superior than the other. And here's how I come to that conclusion. I like the paint job better on Jet Jaguar on the 25. I like the more brighter look, the bright color look to Jet Jaguar, you know. But I like the pose and sculpt better on the 30. So to me, I mean, of course I love them both, but for me, I would combine the color of the 25 with the sculpt of the 30 to make the perfect Jet Jaguar. But at the same time, both these are perfect. They're perfect in their own right, you know, and I'm glad I got them both. So once again, they look really, really great together, you know, and the attention to detail X-Plus has put into both of these is really, really awesome. Really, really is amazing. So that's it with the first size comparison. So let's go with one more size comparison and we'll wrap this review up. Okay, folks, I'm back, and this is the second and last size comparison. And alongside the 30 centimeter Jet Jaguar, I have other 30 centimeter kaijus from the 1970s Godzilla film. Let's start from left to right. Titanosaurus, Mechagodzilla 1975, of course, JJ, Gigan, and of course, Hedra. Yes, and all of these figures are 30 centimeter figures from X-Plus. And don't they look great together? They really do. Once again, it represents a fun period of Godzilla. I know a lot of folks don't really care for the 70s films, and I can understand that, you know, with the over-reliance of stock footage, some annoying child actors, you know. But I give the 70s films credit, I really do, for being fun, energetic, just bright films that incorporate some darkness here and there, you know, like Hedra and Terra Mechagodzilla. But overall, if you would have asked me, like I mentioned before in other videos, what is my favorite era of Godzilla films? Even though my favorite film is Monster vs. Godzilla from 1964, I have to go with the 70s. Every single one of those films, I thoroughly enjoy. Every single one of those films, I can pop in any day and watch it from beginning to end and have a good time. You know, I think that also they're kind of underrated in comparison to the 60s films. Now, the 60s films were awesome. I'm not gonna lie, they were awesome. Monster vs. Godzilla, King Kong vs. Godzilla, Monster Zero, Destroyer of Monsters. You know, just a lot of films can't compare to the 60s films. But for me, it's about having entertaining value. And the 70s films, I have lots and loads of fun with these films. That's why they're my favorite era of films. So I just wanted to show these 30 centimeter X-Plus figures along with Jet Jaguar. And now I'm looking at this. Now, remember what I mentioned earlier about the whole Gigan thing? Now, Gigan, even though he's 30 centimeter, he does fall a little bit short, you know? Which is why one of the reasons why I hope X-Plus does do a 1973 Gigan in the 30 centimeter. Once again, there's not much of a difference between the 72 Gigan and 73. But there are minor differences where you can make a full figure. Once again, the example that I mentioned earlier with the 68 Godzilla and the 71 Godzilla. Even though the 71 is basically the same suit as 1968, it was just modified, just tweaked here and there, but it's still overall the same look in terms of structure, the way the dorsal plates look, the face, everything. They just probably changed the eyes, and because of his battles with Hedra, the suit had a more of a dirty look, you know? But I think X-Plus would garner a lot of sales if they did make a 1973 Gigan. Even though he has more of a goofy look than 72, I would love a 1973 Gigan, you know? And make it a 30 centimeter, like I said, and do no different than what you have done here with this Gigan. Make it a light up, you know, with the light up visor, you know? But I'm going to talk about that in another video as far as my X-Plus predictions, so stay tuned for that video. That'll be coming up real soon. But as you can see, they look really good together, and it makes me wish that Jet Jaguar could have starred in another Godzilla film, or at least I think at the time, because Megalon came out, Godzilla's Megalon came out in 1973. And of course, Jet Jaguar and Megalon have never appeared in another film or TV show after this. And I think that's a shame, because I've always said that Megalon is probably one of the most underrated kaijus, but yet also had the most potential to be something more than what he was. I just think that the film he was in gets a lot of crap, and because of that, Megalon doesn't really get the recognition that he does deserve. So it's a kind of a shame that both him and Jet Jaguar was not in another film. But at least with these figures, you can have these fantasy battles and see what would have happened if Jet Jaguar would have fought Titanosaurus. That would have been awesome. Him fighting Mechagodzilla, both, robotic kaijus. That would have been awesome. Him fighting Hedra, even though I don't think that battle would have lasted long, honestly. But with these figures, you can create fantasy battle matchups of your own. And also got me to thinking, once again, like I said, since the film came out in 1973, and 1973 had a whole bunch of Super Sentai like superhero shows back in that year, and basically TV was the popular medium of entertainment back then, where you had like Ultraman Taro, Zone Fighter, which Godzilla did guest star in. What else? I think Godman came out, and I also thinking Godman actually took on some Toho monsters. I think he took on Sander, or at least a variation of the Sander suit, a variation of the Gabra suit, Gabara, and Gorosaurus. So I think, honestly, Jet Jaguar could have benefited from having a TV show, and, you could have had Toho creatures come in and he would have fought them off. I think, once again, Jet Jaguar is really underrated, as well as Megalon. And I think at the time, Jet Jaguar could have benefited more from having a TV show of his own and still have Godzilla pop in as he did in Zone Fighter. I think that would have been a good way to go. But aside from that, these look great together. So once you pair them up in your collection and have Jet Jaguar fight Mechagodzilla or Titanosaurus or Gigan or Hedra, and just create those fantasy battles of your own, it'll be awesome. It's awesome for me, I tell you that. All right, so let's talk about, in my opinion, my top 3 most savage moments from Jet Jaguar from Godzilla vs. Megalon. And let's talk about that right now. Okay, folks, I'm back, and let's talk about Godzilla vs. Megalon just a little bit. And of course, yeah, Robo 7. Yes, I got to represent for Robo 7. John Bellotti Jr. got the shirt, got the artwork. Obviously, no description necessary, no explanation necessary. Go to robo7.com, get yourself a shirt, and get yourself some artwork like this. You will not be disappointed. All right. Now, as far as Godzilla vs. Megalon, once again, my first ever Godzilla film. Without this film, I would not have become a Godzilla fan. It took this film for me to become a Godzilla fan and to bring me to where I am today. I owe a lot to this film. Even though I know this film may not be the best in the world, once again, I cannot bring myself to hate this film. I cannot bring myself to bash this film. Does it have problems? Absolutely. Does it have issues? Absolutely. But at the same time, I can enjoy it and just enjoy it for what it is. And I think the problem is when you try to compare certain films to other films, that's when the problems come into play. But I'm not going to bash I'm not going to bash the film. At least bash, the film that brought me to where I am today. I love Godzilla vs. Megalon. And mostly, if you think about it, even though the movie is called Godzilla vs. Megalon, Jet Jaguar really was the one that really carried the movie. Of course, if you don't know, originally Godzilla vs. Megalon was not going to star Godzilla. It was supposed to be a film devoted to Jet Jaguar and Megalon, but they showed it to, I guess they shot some footage of it. They went into production with it, and they shot the footage to some test audiences, which didn't go over well. So Godzilla was added for marquee value to increase the film's appeal, as well as Gigan. And that's why Godzilla almost feels somewhat like a co-star, even though he's the star of the film. But I think that Jet Jaguar deserves a lot of credit for carrying the movie up until Godzilla shows up. Now in the previous film, Godzilla vs. Gigan, you kind of can argue that maybe Anguirus had that type of role. That little small subplot of him swimming to Japan only to be turned back by the military, then go back to Monster Island, then Godzilla comes in or whatever. Most of the monster action that we see up until the final fight with Godzilla, Gigan, and King Ghidorah, most of it revolves around Anguirus, in a way. But I think in this film, I think Jet Jaguar did a better job of carrying the movie, make the movie watchable until Godzilla shows up, so I think that's very, very noteworthy. And it's very heavy on Jet Jaguar's part to pull that off, because when you read a film that has the title Godzilla Versus, obviously you're going to see the film because of Godzilla. But when you watch Godzilla vs. Megalon, Godzilla doesn't really show up until like the halfway point. He doesn't do anything of substance until like the very, very end. But up until that point, Jet Jaguar and Megalon really carried the movie. And considering the fact that Jet Jaguar and Megalon was the original plan, and considering the fact that both Jet Jaguar and Megalon have a lot more screen time than both Godzilla and Gigan do, in a way, the producers really got what they originally wanted, if you really think about it. You know, so no harm, no foul. But at the same time, Godzilla and Megalon, the Godzilla, if I could describe that in one sentence, the Godzilla movie was really not a Godzilla movie, but at the same time, I still enjoy it for what it is. Now, let me talk about, in my opinion, because Jet Jaguar, despite his superhero look, despite his Ultraman, I'm here to say today look, despite that goofy grin on his face, he's a savage, okay? He has done some savage stuff in Godzilla vs. Megalon. I'm going to tell you 3 things that make him a bona fide savage. I have no issue with savages, but don't let the grin fool you. Don't let this overall superhero look fool you, and I'm going to give you some reason to why that is true. The first savage thing he does is when he attacks Megalon. And we all know what happens in the film. Majority of the film, Jet Jaguar, in his human form, is flying, guiding Megalon to cities for him to destroy, right? Then he goes and contacts Godzilla to bring Godzilla back to Japan. While Godzilla is on his way to Japan, Jet Jaguar figures he has to hold Megalon down until Godzilla arrives. So what does he do? He does what Ultraman does. Whenever a huge monster comes about or comes to threaten the world, he balloons up to Megalon's size, right? And Megalon just standing there looking at him. He kind of cocks his head a little bit. Now, mind you, up until that point, Megalon and Gigan, I wouldn't say they're friends, but they were not really enemies, you know? But after Jet Jaguar grows up, which is a great scene, by the way, 'cause after that happens, you're like, oh, because he slowly grows up. It goes ding, 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 ding. And you as an audience member looking at that, then we know something's about to go down, right? But Jet Jaguar basically just casually walks up to Megalon, stands there for like 2 seconds, takes his hand and bashes Megalon on the side of the head. And when Megalon comes crashing down, he kind of screams. And basically, you can put in whatever you want to put in as far as like, if that happened to a real person, what would the person say? Something like, you know, if they were involved, something like that. Megalon probably been like, what the, really? Man, that was savage. Jet Jaguar just grows up, walks up to Megalon, looks him right in the face, doesn't really do anything, and just Megalon comes falling down. Oh man, that was savage. That was savage. He didn't give no warning. He didn't stick his hand out like he did with Godzilla. He just walks up to him and gives him the Ike Turner. Oh man, I'm sorry. That's just fun to me. That is just so fun to me. All right, the second savage thing that Jet Jaguar does. Like, I would say 3/4 of the fight, which is ironic because in this film, Jet Jaguar fights Megalon more than Godzilla does, you know? So once again, Godzilla was a Megalon, not really a Godzilla film, but then again it is. Whatever, that's a whole new rant for a whole new situation. But the second savage thing that Jet Jaguar does is like halfway through the fight, after they escape that circle of fire, you know exactly what I'm talking about, which was a great scene, by the way. They show Gigan flying. I think he's flying to try to get away, whatever. And then we see Jet Jaguar flying alongside him, and he flies fast enough where he bypasses Gigan. Then he turns around and basically does a kamikaze dive, but yet comes straight on into Gigan. Let's say this is Gigan. This is Jet Jaguar. Jet Jaguar just flies head first into Gigan, and Gigan comes falling. He basically headbutts him and Gigan comes falling down. I'm like, come on now. That Jaguar's like, nah, you ain't living, dude. You ain't leaving. This ain't over. Oh man, this ain't over. That's the second savage thing that Jet Jaguar does. And the last thing that Jet Jaguar does that is savage to me is before, and once again, we're going back to Gigan now. He grabs Gigan from the back, right? And he's kicking him like to march forward. Basically, Gigan's done at this point. He's done fighting. He's ready to fly away and get away. But before he does, he gets thrown in the air and Godzilla blows his fire at him, and then he comes crashing down and he flies away. But before that happens, what does Jet Jaguar do? He breaks his claw. He breaks his arm, and the arm is like dangling like this on Gigan. I'm like, ugh. And I know Gigan's a cyborg, so he doesn't really have feelings like a normal human being, but still, it's like his claw is just dangling like this. Oh man, so yeah, those in my opinion are the most savage thing, the top 3 savage things that Jet Jaguar did in Godzilla vs. Megalon. And of course, you know, I mean, I'm sorry, it's just funny to me. But the most savage thing to me was when Jet Jaguar just bashes Megalon in the head. Like I said, he grows up, he's walking towards him. Megalon is just standing there, you know, with his head cocked to the side, just looking at him. Megalon doesn't know what to expect. Megalon's like, okay, I guess you're bigger now, so I guess we're gonna destroy cities together. Jet Jaguar, like I said, just takes his hand and go, oh man, once again, I'm laughing so much because once again, it's funny. It really is fun. You know, Godzilla vs. Megalon is a fun film, even though it has its moments. It has its level of absurdity in the film. You know, but at the same time, it is full of fun moments. It's a fun moment from beginning to end. And I highly recommend the film. I highly recommend you go out and watch it. You know, once again, don't compare it to other films, because that's when you're gonna nitpick and find flaws in it, which there are flaws in it, don't get me wrong, but the flaws are not as much as you think they are. And by no means do I believe that this film deserves the designation of being the worst ever Godzilla film. It doesn't. It really doesn't. So maybe I can convince y'all to go out your way and try to rewatch it and gain a newfound perspective of it. Once again, this is my first ever Godzilla film, and I'm not going to bash it. I never will bash it. I will always give credit where credit is due, and without that film, I will not be where I am today. You know what I mean? So that pretty much concludes my review of the X-Plus 30cm Jet Jaguar Standard Edition figure from my first ever Godzilla film, the highly fun and campy Godzilla vs. Megalon. You have any questions, holler me down in the comment section. Hit me up on Facebook via Leslie P. Chambers. We'll definitely go from there. Yes, this is an awesome piece. Yes, in a year where we have seen lots of great stuff from X-Plus, you can definitely add this one onto the list. Once again, if I could combine the colors of the 25 with the sculpt of this one, you know, I would like that, but at the same time, this really is a nice piece, especially when you add the dirty weather look of Jet Jaguar. It really is an awesome piece, and once you pair it with other 30cm 70s kaijus, that's awesome. And for nothing else, besides the fact that he's great on his own, if you're on the fence about getting this figure, please get this figure, because like I said, he just got dropped last week, and he should be online right now for a relatively good price. Don't wait too long, because we all know the longer these new pieces arrive in the market, or at least arrive on eBay and other places after they drop, if you wait too long, they're going to get horrendously overpriced. And I see this guy becoming no different, because the 25cm was horrendously overpriced before the reissues of him came out. So I expect the same thing to happen to this guy, you know. But for nothing else, besides the fact he's great on his own, once X-Plus, and I believe they will, once they release the 30cm Godzilla 1973, the 30cm Gigan 1973, hopefully, and especially the 30cm Megalon, and once you pair those four together to create the ultimate setup from the movie, you can't go wrong with that. So please, get your hand on this figure. You will not be disappointed with the X-Plus 30cm Jet Jaguar Standard Edition or the Ripbo Edition. Alright? Lots of stuff has come on the channel. Once again, I got the Sakai 54 coming, the RMC Gamma 1995 coming. I got the Rick exclusive set of Space Godzilla and Little Godzilla. That's coming real soon. The Sakai Shin, the 30cm Crawling Varan. I got the Flying King Ghidorah coming in November. The Godzilla 1965 Fire Rodan. Yeah, we're going to be busy here on the channel for the foreseeable future. So you would not be disappointed with what I got planned. Plus, I have a couple of live stream ideas that I'm going to be doing. You know, so please stay tuned. You will not be disappointed. And get this figure. Get Jet Jaguar. Make him happy, as you can see on his face. Alright, I'm done. I gotta go. So thank you for watching. I appreciate it. And I will see y'all again on this figure move review. Alright? Y'all take it easy.
だけどジェットジャガージェットジャガーやったぜジャガー行け行け平和を守るためみんなも驚く勇気を見せるゴジラとジャガーでパンチパンチパンチ泣くな僕らも頑